Hello and welcome to that Peter Crouch podcast with me, Peter Crouch, Notorious SID, new chair. And Chris Stark's with me as well. How are you finding the new chair?
Well, I'm here for a reason, aren't I? Because obviously we've got a special guest coming on. I've got to say it's quite sturdy. Considering.
I mean, this was the chair you broke before.
This is the chair I broke. Obviously, just off camera, they are being propped up with books.
Yes.
That's how we roll.
But I mean, it's like some of the books are from people that we've had on the podcast and stuff like that. I'm sure they never planned it.
Do you know what though? I think I'm more sturdy than your chair.
Yeah, you are. Like mine could go at any stage. But the reason we've got the new chair in is because we've shit ourselves about putting Big Dunc in the middle today.
That won't happen.
Obviously, our guest is Duncan Ferguson. We were a little bit concerned about putting him in the middle.
He weren't going to go in the middle.
I'm terrified of sitting next to this guy. By the way, I know only what I've seen on TV, YouTube. You know, old reputation, stuff like that. I can't tell if this guy's going to be the loveliest bloke ever. It's intimidating either way for me to be sat here.
He is an icon, isn't he?
You know what? He's actually a lovely fella as well.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah, he
comes across. To be fair, he comes across lovely. It's just quite intimidating. Normally, people who are this close to him, say if it was on the pitch or something like that.
Oh, you'd know if you got close to him. We've been looking forward to this. This has been in the diary for a while, this, hasn't it? This has been...
This is what quite often we have a guest, right? And we talk about it and say it's going to happen, and then it fizzles out. I've never seen Ross so he was like it was a dog with a bone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wasn't letting go of it until he got Big Dunc on.
Absolutely buzzing.
Look at him. So he was very excited.
So well done for sorting the chair thing out, because the worst possible thing that could have happened would be me sitting to Big Dunc in the middle.
It does feel like a bit of a doctor's sort of waiting room, this, doesn't it? Like, you know, do you get that vibe?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get the big man in, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the one and only Mr. Duncan Ferguson.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
Absolute pleasure.
Great to be here. Looking forward to it.
You just mentioned about the
I was just thinking this is a Chesterfield, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had one of these in my bar in my house. I converted my garage into a bar and had one of these in it. It was green, but they're lovely, aren't they?
What is a night like in Duncan Ferguson's bar?
Yeah, what's it called? Have you got a good name for it?
Big Dunc. Can we plug the book right away?
Yeah. Here it is.
So Big Dunc. There's John Terry's book there. Big Dunc. There we go. No, that is me, by the way. Does that look like me, Chris?
I'm not arguing with you.
Ross just give you a little bit of grief there, saying he looks a little bit more like John Terry.
To be fair, that's a better picture than that is in real life, isn't it?
You look $1 million on that picture.
Yeah, God, I wish I had $1 million, lad.
So have you chosen the picture for the cover? I'm always fascinated by this.
Yeah, how did it go?
Honestly, believe me, that picture come off of Inverness training ground. I was up in Inverness training. The publishers asked me for a picture. So I've come off the training ground. It's raining, snowing, windy. You can imagine Inverness, can't you? Ever been to Inverness?
No, I've not been, but I can imagine.
It's freezing.
I played in Stoke.
Yeah. It's bloody freezing. A lot colder than Stoke.
Yeah.
And they asked me for a picture. I sent it, gave the camera to my mate, and I stood up against the wall, took the picture. And believe it or not, that's the picture there now.
So that you've just come off the training ground.
Low budget.
I wouldn't mind coming off the training ground looking like that.
I know.
Yeah, but also I think that could double up as your passport picture, that couldn't it? Because it's against a white wall. You've got the proportions right and everything. You'd have the hardest passport picture of anyone. I reckon.
They say I look younger than that, so I'm happy.
It's great. I think it looks good. Sure. And the book, of course, is called
Big Dunc. We worked really hard on it. As I said, we thought long and hard about the title. And we decided, maybe that's the best bet. Big Dunc.
You know what, though, Dunc? We don't hear you talk like a lot, like in the media and various different outlets and stuff like that. In the book, you go into things that probably you haven't spoke about. How difficult was that?
I'm just going to go back, Pierre. That's probably because you need subtitles for me. strong Scottish accent. But there's a lot of things in the book, going away back when I was a kid, right through, I never liked talking to the press. It was a bit childish, or I don't know. I always thought it was hard done by them up in Scotland, for instance. And so I just thought, I'll not speak to him. So I never did. And I think that just added to a wee bit to my makeup,
Why do you think that was? Why were you hard done by, Duncan, like in the early days up at, in Dundee and Rangers?
It wasn't all the press's fault. I was a bit of a naughty boy back then when I was younger, So I accumulated a few offences away from the football field. So I got a few assaults, a few charges, and that leaded me to go into probation. And what happened then is I went and got an offence on a football pitch. So we're playing against Rangers. I was playing for Rangers at the time, and we're playing against Rovers, and I committed offence and assaulted another player. And because I was on probation, the judges knew if I got convicted of this offence, which is on a football pitch, and I even got a yellow card for it, by the way. Somebody watched it on the television. Another procurator fiscal knew I was on probation, and they knew if I got charged, I had a good chance I'd break my probation and go to prison. But then the press inflamed that in my mind, because they went to the player and said to him, the boys in the Rangers dressing room were saying, you cheated, you dived there. And the lad turned around and said, I never dived, he connected with me. He did connect with me. So before you know it, they had the headline, headbutt. Headbutt. And then all of a sudden this procurator fiscal, who wasn't at the game, he must have been watching the television that night. He knew then that if I got convicted for that as an offence, I would go to prison. So I got upset with the press for chasing that headline. And bearing in mind, there's 40,000 fans there, there's 200 police, there's 22 players on the pitch, there's a guy himself, and nobody complained about an assault. Nobody, not one person. So I assaulted somebody on a football pitch, and not one person complained. But then later on at night, some fellas watching the television, who was a judge who knew the thing, or unless he was just maybe he might have been a Rangers supporter. I don't know, but I take it was for the other side of the city. He knew that if I got pushed on this offence, I would go to prison. And that's what happened in the end. But I got upset with the press because they chased that headline.
Well, since you brought it up there, Duncan, obviously the situation when you're standing there and you receive your sentence, like that feeling, and obviously the feeling of actually going inside.
No good. No good, Peter. I knew it was happening. I'd got word before that this was going to go well for me. So no, it was a bad experience for me. Only a young man at the time. I think when I committed the offence, or the so-called offence, really, that I wasn't even yellow carded for. That it was frightening, really, to be able to somebody says you're getting 3 months. You know what I mean? When I never done any community service. So I thought maybe the community service would be a better route for me, considering I had a job. I was a young man. Put me in Berlin, the middle of Glasgow. There wasn't even an open nick or anything like that. You're going into Berlin. Do you know what I mean? It's the middle of Glasgow. You played for the Rangers. Half the nick are Blue Noses. Half them are support the Celtic. You know what I mean? So not a good experience.
I'm a third of the way through it. I can't put it down, to be honest. And the opening kind of chapter is about your experience in there. Like, that experience must have been so tough. Like, for you to come out of that. Frightening. But when you're younger, to be fair, it is frightening when you look back on it. I couldn't do it now. You get older, you get a bit more wiser, don't you? When you're younger, you're a bit daft. I was a bit fearless. Probably a part of me was thinking, this would be quite exciting, this. I'll go into the prison, you know what I mean? I'll go in, it's no fair on me. I'll just go in there and meet it head on, you know what I mean? That's the kind of attitude I had. But deep down, I was petrified. You know what I mean, really. But another part of me was a wee bit excited as well, say, you know what? I wonder what it's like in Berlin. I wonder what it's like in prison. You've seen the movies, haven't you?
Yes.
What was, obviously you talk about it at length in the book, but I guess obviously it's a negative experience on the face of it. Did you manage to find any sort of laughs in the madness of it all, or anything that sort of, I don't know, made you smile a bit?
Well, I'm laughing now for some reason. I don't know why. I think when I was in there, not so much. There wasn't much to smile about. It was tough. You have to watch your back all the time, constantly, 24/7. Anybody behind you, you turn very quickly. So it was frightening. They had, we call them Mars bars. They had scars in the prison, and you could get slashed for £2. Okay, so the currency in the prison was phone cards. in the main. So if I gave you said a phone card, and there's £2 credit on it. You never give me that phone card back, or that £2 you're getting cut. So it was frightening that way. People, they're just, it was very cheap. The violence was all over. But it was frightening. Yeah, but smiling, no, really. But what I will say is, Everton, right, who were unbelievable with me, incredible with me, they never fined me. They never fined me a penny. Right, not a penny. So when I actually came out of the nick, right, I had all my wages waiting on me.
No way.
Right, so I've got like 6-7 weeks' wages in the bank, and to be honest, I was fit as a fiddle because I was off the booze.
Yeah,
I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't in late nights. I was in the gym every day. So I was pretty fit, you know what I mean? I think people go to the Priory, didn't they? And it cost them a few quid to go to the Priory. I just went into Berlin.
Was that what you had to do in terms of like a focus, like to try and keep fit, just stay out of trouble, keep your head down, go in the gym, just keep yourself to yourself? Was that what it was like, just passing every day?
That's it. Try and keep away from everybody.
Yeah.
But you couldn't be just sitting in your cell. I think they called them Peters, sitting behind your wood. You couldn't be sitting in your cell as if you were frightened. You were frightened, but you couldn't just sit in there. Yeah. You had to come out onto the landings. You had to come out. Now, once you've made that first step, that was the difficult part. I was only young, and to make that first step onto the landing, and of course that was frightening. And then everybody's all watching you then, and you come onto that first step. You know what I mean? It's frightening when you look back on it. But I survived.
Yeah. Do you think that's like where you're special? I know there's lots of reasons why you got a special connection to Everton, but that you going through that period at the club and them sticking by you and the fans were, I don't know, is that true that they were writing you letters?
Unbelievable what they did for me, Peter.
Yeah, like that connection obviously works both ways. Is that why you have so much love for the football club?
Yes, I think that was the start of it. Obviously, scoring goals are a big part of it as well. I scored my first goal against Liverpool, but when you go into the nick, there's star strikers in the prison. You know what I mean? And it kind of bonds you, doesn't it? Like, this is injustice. This shouldn't be happening to your player. So it kind of brought us together. Scousers are Scousers, aren't they?
Yeah.
They love a rogue, don't they, Ross? So the fans love a rogue, don't they, in a way, and I think the fans needed to grab onto somebody, and I was that man. And I was a wee bit, and I was controversial. Was a wee bit, a wee bit wild when I was younger.
I have to say, from my point of view, growing up, my dad used to sit because I was very tall, but I could play, but I wasn't very good in the air. Right. So I remember, like, obviously being the size I was like I had to work on it on my heading. Yeah. And my dad sat me down and I watched some of your videos, some of your clips, and of you attacking the football. Well, I've seen nothing like it before or since.
I'm glad he showed you attacking the football, not attacking anybody else in the head.
No.
He taught you very well, Peter, believe me. You scored a whack of goals with your head, didn't you?
Well, you know what I did.
How many did you score with your head?
I got in the Premier League. I think it was at 56 or something.
You think?
Yeah.
56. I think.
Like
56.
Is that the record?
It is the record. Yeah, but I'm sitting here. I just played. I think maybe longer than that. There's no way I'm sitting here saying I'm a better header of football than Duncan Ferguson or Alan Shearer or Les Ferdinand. No, there's no way. I think
56 goals. Wow.
Yeah, but you know what? I think I was for attacking a football. There's no one better in the Premier League of all time than you.
I could leap, Peter. I was a leaper. But believe me, you were unbelievable. I remember doing it at Southampton. I think I marked you at a corner, a wide free kick or something. You absolutely destroyed me. I was defending, you were attacking, you jumped. When you jumped, my God, you couldn't beat you.
I think if I get a run on, then maybe,
But guys, you had to pin you, wouldn't they? You'd have to run underneath them and try and push them.
How do you defend that sort of
Just pin them.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, bump them. Get under their chest, grab them, push them, knock them off the ball.
Yeah.
You can't stand away from them and expect Peter to jump. Because if you daylight between you and you're going for the same ball, he'll kill you in there. Absolutely kill you in there.
But that's what I learned off you, Duncan, right? So I was too busy standing in the box because my height, I'm thinking I can just hit, But then defenders get cuter the higher you go, and they are pulling.
They push under the ball.
I remember watching you. You're standing way outside the box, and you're just everyone knows it's coming. You're just running from from outside the box, and it's like a steam train, and it just felt like you were going to take everything, right?
Yeah, I was a leaper. I was good at that. You know what I mean? I think as you get older, you start to pin people, don't you? Because your muscles start to go, your operations start to kick in. So as I got older in my career, I started looking for people Do you know what I mean? Come here, you, and I'll pin you. And I started to pin people and then win the headers. But when I was younger, I was a jumper. I used to jump like, Scottish salmon, right out of that water. So I was a good jumper, good leaper.
That was one of your main strengths as well when you was playing, was it? When the ball came into you, there's not many defenders that would get the better of you in terms of getting round you and winning the ball from the front. And once you pin someone, like they ain't going nowhere.
That was my strength.
Yeah.
If you were a defender and you put your hand on me, you were dead. I knew where you were. Vice versa, if I put my hand on you, I knew where you were. You were dead.
Yeah.
No, because some defenders will absolutely put their hand on the back of you.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I know where he is now because he was feeling me, but I knew where he was. And if I couldn't feel him and he didn't put his hand on me, I'd have to go looking for him then. But once I could connect with you, or he was touching me, I knew where you were. You were dead. I didn't like the ones who were playing loose.
Yeah, you
getting
know
in front
where
of
they
you.
were.
Maybe the smaller guys. No, maybe can get round in front of you, get away from you, push under the ball. And so,
did you get taught that from a sort of a coach or a manager when you were young, or was it just your instinct?
I think you learn as you go
played?
along.
Yeah.
I remember I was at Duncan United once, and I was a young kid coming up on a YTS, playing against. It was a bounce game, so playing his bounce game, and it was David Neary. And I was playing the game. David Neary played for Duncan United, Paul Hegarty, two great centre backs. Duncan United were a fantastic team. And I come up to the training, I was on a YTS, I was coming up and they're kicking balls at me, I was jumping and beating them. Just jumping and going bang. Jumping and going bang. Going, God, this is fucking easy, this. This is easy, this. God, I mean, these boys are world class players. I'm destroying them. I was only 15. Jumping and jumping and jumping. Just sit forward a bit, Chris. Sit forward. So if jumping and jumping and jumping, right? And eventually, right, I jumped and try and jump. Smooth.
I'm trying.
Right. So
Just move where we are.
See that hand on there?
Yeah.
I can still feel that hand on my shoulder yet. So Neary Hegarty put their hand on me like that, right? And I couldn't move. I went, what's happened there? What's happened there? And that's what it was. And I still remember that hand on me. It wasn't the hand of the law. It was the hand of Paul Hegarty and David Neary. And I always remembered that when I was a young kid. Right, what am I going to do now? 5 seconds later, 10 seconds, 20 minutes, you adjust. You quickly adjust. So now, I'm standing off you now, going, come on now. What are you doing? And now I'm trying to get away from him. So you learn, don't you? And you learn very quickly. And I still remember that on my shoulder yet. You still remember it, Chris?
You'll remember that.
I remember this. I feel like I've been groped by Iron Man.
Obviously, talk about your reputation preceded you and things like that. Did you play up to that? To scare defenders, or was there one person that who was the toughest defender you played against, and did you play up to that reputation so you could scare defenders?
Yeah, I think I played up to it. I played up to it a bit. Yeah, you use everything, don't you? Really, and stories, Peter, they just grow arms and legs. They just roll and roll. It's a small snowball, and it just rolls and rolls, gets bigger and bigger. Before you know it, you could become the hardest player to ever put a pair of boots on. Yeah. He's this, he's that. I wasn't that. I wasn't that, but I just played in that a wee bit. Like with no shaking people's hands. I was just childish, but I played in it. So after a game, I wouldn't shake your hand. I wouldn't talk to you in the game, really. I would not speak to you.
So that became your thing, your personality.
Don't speak to anybody, don't talk to them, don't shake their hand. And they'll think, oh, Jesus, who's this guy here? And I played on that. I played in it, you know what I mean? What was the other one you asked me?
Who was the person that stood up to you the most over all the years?
I think they all did. I mean, look, they were all great players. I always had trouble with all centre-backs. There was no easy ride in the Premier League.
Toughest?
Obviously, you've got boys like Tony Adams, the old school boys, haven't you? Back in the day, Tony Adams, the centre backs, big, bold, Keon, with Arsenal in the defence there. Big Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand. You're going into the more kind of modern type thing. They were all wonderful players. Big Sammy Hippie at Liverpool. I always say was one of my toughest opponents. He was big. He was good in the air. Not the quickest. Brave. I remember once I flattened him at Anfield, and I was actually playing for Newcastle at the time, and he was probably getting the better of me at the time, right? And I'm thinking, hey, this big fucker, and he's getting the better of me, and I just come across him, and banged him, and out he went, gone, and he gets the treatment, gets stretchered off. He came back on the pitch. honestly, the amount of respect I had for that man after he came back on the pitch, he could easily have just swallowed it and walked away. I mean, I gave him a cheap shot, I flattened the boy because he was getting the better of me. He got stretchered off, and I mean, you got carted off at Anfield, all over the place. And 5 minutes later, he was back on. I thought, God almighty, I tell you what, mate, you're not only a good player, you're tough as well,
Yeah, tough
is that, how do you think is the best way to deal with you? Do you see what I mean? Is that it? It's giving some back, like being a bit resilient to you going in early.
I think if you were aggressive towards me, Chris, I would get worse.
Yeah, this is what I mean. I don't know how you handle.
I think if people were more aggressive to me, I would start to think, is he coming after me? What's going on here?
Yeah.
I would then react very quickly. I had a really short temper at the time, and if you pushed me or you grabbed me or you said something to me, I'd have to then go after you. It was a bit, just a bit immature. Really. I don't know.
When I was coming through Arsenal, I was a YTS and a young pro, and we used to love it when Everton come to Highbury, because we would wind Martin Keown up.
Yeah.
Like we would get on him and go, Big Dunc's going to put you in your place Saturday. we'd get him going on the Thursday. You could see go like that, and you could just see it in his mind straight away. Like we'd come, so we'd play obviously on the Saturday in the morning, and we'd go over to Highbury, and you could see him warming up, and you'd see Martin just always keep looking over at the Everton team warming up. And it was one of the ones where when there was a throw on this side, you used to just grab him. There used to be fingernails and gouging and everything from both parties as well.
He was tough, Martin. He was tough. He was a great player. But just, thanks for the intimidating opposition for me. So, yeah. But, And I'll give you one quick example, right? Well, when the handshakes came in? So the handshakes came in, didn't they? Which is a bit like, we don't know. So
you're just not feeling the handshake at all. You were like, no, I'm not doing this.
Well, I just thought it was a bit, before the game. Anyway, I think Mourinho's Chelsea team come to Goodison, right? And there was talk about, I think it was Cavalli. Cavalli plays centre back for Chelsea. Yeah, good player.
Yeah, very good.
Right?
Yeah.
But he was playing regularly, and a big boy called Huth. Huth, went to Leicester, good big player, strong fella. And there was talk in the press, they're talking about they're putting this boy in to sort me out, you know what I mean? And I'm seeing it like, I'm thinking, what is that? So, but the handshakes came in, right? So, as he's coming, you have to date with me, right?
Yeah,
so sorry. He's coming along. I'm not going to date. So you are sweating, by the way. So he's coming along, right? And he shakes my hand really hard. Really hard.
Shall I try?
Pull away. No, you pull away. Pull away. Right? So I just held him in the handshake.
You just held him there.
Just held him. Right? I just held him.
And everyone just stopped behind you in the queue.
So I just held, but he shook my hand hard. I'm just going like that. And I just fucking pulled him back a wee bit. But he was letting me know that he was going to come after me stupidly. Why tell me? And I was young then, I was daft thinking, but why you tell me? But you're letting me know now that you're going to be going strong on me. What happened? Ball goes back to the goalkeeper. What you doing, Peter? Believe me, I'm not watching the ball. Am I? Right. So you're in the big hoof.
Yeah, I'm big hoofy.
I'm honestly, the ball's went like that, and I'm just looking at him coming across. The ball goes in there. He stupidly went for the ball. Bang, gone.
So with the handshake thing, I guess if I was lining up against you, I would have to give almost a week. Just almost more weak than normal just to try throw you.
I just thought there was a bit daft. I don't know, maybe you could, but it was a bit daft. He was telling me how he was going to. He was coming there to sort me out.
But that was clearly premeditated from his side. So how often for you did you? But how often for you did you pick one player that you knew you were going to try rattle?
Never. I never tried to pick anybody. This is the truth. I never. It sounds stupid like that. I reacted childishly. To that handshake, I reacted to that. He shakes my hand, we get on with the game. Nothing happened. There was a boy at Aston Villa once, he came on as a sub, I can't remember his name, a foreign lad. Back end of the season, Staunton, was it centre back at Republic Island?
Steve Staunton?
Steve Staunton playing centre back. This kid comes on the pitch as a sub, foreign lad, and he comes on the pitch and starts shouting at me.
Was it Alpay, was it? Alpay, Turkish centre
I got a 3-game ban for it, right? But I never got a red card. Because what happened is his last game of the season, right? Or one of the last games of the season, and I'm on the pitch playing with Steve Staunton, playing a big, lovely fella. We're playing the game. The game's nearly dead. There's only 10, 15 minutes to go. There's nothing on the game. I'm talking away, whatever, no problem. And this boy comes on and starts screaming at me, "You Ferguson, yeah, Ferguson, this, yeah." And he starts talking this like language, you know. I'm thinking, what are you going on? Who's this guy? And like I could see Staunton going, oh no. So I'm thinking he's going to come. He's coming after me. So guess what happened? The ball's coming down the pitch. He's running along the side of me. I just stopped him, went bang, took him out. 3-game ban. I got a 3-game ban at the end of the season. I was suspended for the next season, and I missed the first 3 games the next season. And that's when Moyes was in, and I lost the second season of Moyes, and I lost. I had a 3-game ban. But again, in my defence, if there is a defence, if you never says nothing to me, I don't do that. So there was a wee bit something wrong with me. If you say something to me and you were aggressive towards me, I reacted. If you never...
But it was never premeditated.
No. Never.
But did managers ever... Did they ever try and calm you down? Like, play on the edge? Because obviously it's spilling over a bit too much. Was there a point where they tried to kind of get the optimal Duncan Ferguson without getting the bans? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean...
Did anyone sit down and have a chat with you?
In the end, as I got older, Peter, I got more crankier. As my career was starting to wane, and I wasn't the same player, I started racking up more red cards then, and I didn't like what I was doing. I wasn't the same player as I was. I wasn't performing the way I was performing, and I was getting a bit more narkier. So as I got older in my career, I got more red cards, I suppose. But no. But obviously, all the managers tried to sit me down and probably got fined a few quid and. Whatever.
But if you take that away from you, you take the player, you take your character.
It's just a red card, isn't it? It's just a red cards, mate, isn't it? It's just I regret them, mate. Just daft, stupid things, cheap shots, mate. Just play the game. But again, if I thought I was threatened or I thought somebody was coming after me, then I'd try and get them fucking.
This is my argument for shin pads in football, Yeah. I know you laugh at me for wearing them at 5-a-side.
No, it's just 5-a-side. He wears shin pads in 5-a-side. I don't know.
We never know when you're going to be up against a Big Dunc.
Yeah, but you'd be all right with me, mate, because I never punched anybody in the shins. Don't worry, lads. You'll be all right, son. In my defence, I never kicked anybody in my life.
Do you think
can we not change the subject?
Do you think you're underestimated as a footballer? Because do you think you were? For the ability you had and the goals you scored with your feet.
He scored some great goals.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm no boy. Who cares? I don't know.
Yeah,
I've got no idea, pal. Whatever. When I was fit, I could play. When I was injured, you can't play. You can't score goals lying on a treatment table, can you? And that's the end of the day. I was on the treatment table far too long in my career. I was on the treatment table. I've had 10 operations. I've got scars up and down my legs, scars on my bum, scars everywhere in my tummy. Never knew what core were. One of the exercises, double hernia, hernias. You don't hear about hernias now. Yeah. Why don't you hear about hernias now? Because everybody's doing core work. Everybody's doing their core work. Yeah. Everybody's looking after their tummy. Back in your day, it was all hernias. Hernias. That's all stopped now. Then it became metatarsals, didn't it?
Yeah.
So we went from double hernias or hernia repairs to metatarsals. I had a lot of hernia operations. But when I was fit, I could play. I just never played enough.
Who's the best you've played with, Duncan? You've played with some great players.
I think the two that stick out in my mind, I said that before, the two that stick out in my mind are young Wayne Rooney, who was a wonderful player. He was breaking through at Everton at the time. He was only a young man. I watched him when he was 14, 15 in the youth teams. He was excellent, really, really good player. Strong. Everything what he was that package, you know. He looked like...
Did you see a bit of yourself in him?
He had fire. He definitely had fire. When he was a Scouser, he come from a boxing family. His family all run the boxing gyms. I think they still do. So he was a fighter. Most Scousers are. There's a lot of great players coming to Merseyside, isn't there? A lot of medals up there. A lot of Champions League win medals, etc. Wayne was one of them. I could see the fight in him, the fire. But he was a great player. He was quick, super quick. School champion runner, rapid. And you could see where he was going to get to. And to be fair, he was wonderful at 16, 17 when he made his debut as well.
Okay, guys, this is a pretty good part to stop the pod and hear a word from our sponsors. Whilst these ads are on, don't forget to share the pod with someone that you think will enjoy hearing three blokes trying to give cutting-edge football analysis after a few shandies down the Chumbawamba. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, don't be a Carl. Hit subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back, guys. Hopefully you managed to pass the pod to your nearest and dearest and subscribed if you haven't already. Let's crack on.
Did you feel you had an impact on him at that stage?
Yes, I think Wayne looked up to me a wee bit. I think obviously he was on the terraces, wasn't he? And that time I was like probably the main man, really. But yeah, he looked up to me.
Did you ever did you feel like you had to almost look after him a little bit?
Do you know what, Peter? No, because I was immature myself. I was just immature myself, and it's as simple as that. I wasn't thinking about anybody else. You know, who does it when you're whether I was 30 or 25, he'd be about 16, I was 10 years older than them. So I wasn't thinking, you know what I mean, about Wayne or anything like that. I was just thinking about myself. And I actually tried to stay away from Wayne a wee bit, because I maybe wasn't leading the life I should have been leading, and I didn't want that for Wayne to see that, or for then me to get the blame of Wayne done something wrong. I was going to get the blame, you know what I mean? So I tended to keep away from Wayne a wee bit, although we were good pals. And he was a wonderful player, and if he fulfilled his potential, he went on to win all kinds and become a great player. The other one's Alan Shearer, who obviously I played at Newcastle with, and he was a wonderful player as well, Alan. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, was only fit for a few months at Newcastle, maybe 4 months. And me and him were up front, and we were unstoppable. We were unstoppable.
I mean, if you're a centre half with Shearer and Ferguson up front, I mean, at that time when you're both fit, I mean, you're in for a tough day, aren't you?
Peter, we were a handful. I played the kind of first contact man. I was the target man, and Alan played off me. Probably in his role a wee bit, he would have played the first contact, but because I was bigger and better in the air, the first ball would come to me, and he would feed off that, you know. Yeah. But I'd head the ball, you know what I mean? I'd flick the ball on or something, you know what I mean? In my career, nobody would get it. But the minute you knew you were a top player, he was on it.
How was that wonderful as a partnership on a sort of personality basis? Because you've got, you're two main men, really, aren't you?
Feels like you've got two number nines. If you look about it now, teams play with no number nines. You got two number nines up there. How does that work?
I adapted my game a little bit as well. Hulip was the manager. Now, Hulip was one of the first ones to say to the teammates, don't just hit the ball to his head. Everton used to just shell the ball to my head, right? I would jump, I'd flick it on for the runner. No problem. And we got a lot of success for it. But Hulip was one of the first to say, drop it into him. Drop it in, because I could handle the ball as well. I could actually handle the ball, you know what I mean? So Hulip was so I adapted my game a little bit to linking up the play as well. Alan would go in behind, so we could mix up both us. But obviously my strength was in the air. But Alan was he was a great player, wasn't he?
Strong as well.
And we got on really well. So we got great together, really, to be honest.
How's the relationship with Ruud Gullit? Obviously, there was one particular game. I think it was the Sunderland game where I think you were both on the bench.
Yeah, that's right.
And I always remember it was pissing down rain, and you were looking out towards the gate, and it was like, how can you leave these? Well, at least one of them's playing. Yeah, the fact that he left.
Was it Sunderland?
I think it was Sunderland.
Derby game.
It was a derby, wasn't it? Yeah.
Got beat.
Can you imagine that? That's a big call.
Huge.
Well, certainly with Alan. I mean, Alan was at loggerheads with Gullit then. You know what I mean? They fell out.
It felt like a statement, that.
It was. I think Gullit lost his job 2 days later. So, he won that battle, and rightly so. I mean, I think Gullit was young as well. You've got to remember, this guy was a world-class player. He was young. Alan was a world-class player, and he obviously thought that Alan was finished, and he probably felt like I was there to replace Alan. But crazy enough to believe that I was there to replace Alan, and Gullit wasn't getting on with Alan, and it was a bad relationship they two had. So I was coming back for an injury at the time, so my circumstances were a wee bit different. We'd actually played a bounce game on the Friday. Gullit used to play a 11v11 bounce game, and he would change the team, like, so Peter, you've had a nightmare, you come out the team. So I mean, put Duncan, right? So I'd go in the team, you'd come out, and you'd go into the reserves, and I would come into the first team. Same with you. So we changed. Gullit would change the team around there and then.
Wow.
No, just on the Friday. The tactics, working for the tactics from Monday to Friday. But if he didn't like what you were doing on a Friday, I got that a wee bit. Then you would get dragged off. So we're playing we're in the bomb squad, the reserves, and we're playing the main 11 who are playing against Sunderland. We beat them 2-0, right? And he's shouting to Alan, right? He didn't think Alan was good on his left foot for some reason. Alan scored a lot of goals on his left foot, and he was shouting to Alan. He was shouting to the defenders, keep Alan on his left foot, keep Alan on his left foot, keep him on his left foot. What's coming? Yeah. You guess what's coming next, didn't you? Yeah. Bang! Left foot, bang! top corner. Left foot bang, top corner. So he scores, Alan scores on his left foot, and I get a cross and I've jumped as I did one of my trademarks, jumped up and headed one in the top corner.
So in training before the derby, you've 2-0, you've beat the team and you've both scored. And he still jumped
and
it.
with a left foot.
He never changed us.
Unbelievable.
He never changed it.
Wow.
But that's so their relationship wasn't great. My relationship was good with Hull. I had no problem with really up until that point really. Other than that, he brought me to the club. He tried to sign me for Chelsea. He was at Chelsea, tried to get me to Chelsea. He rated me as a player. He brought me to Newcastle, paid a lot of money for me. And he also knew I could handle the ball.
Yeah.
But his relationship with Alan wasn't great.
Did you enjoy your time at Newcastle? Because it felt like,
I loved it. I loved Newcastle. I loved the Geordies. No problem. Injuries were a problem, as it was throughout my whole career. It followed me all the way around. I mean, Geordies are like the Scousers, aren't they? Really?
I was going to say.
They're all rogues.
Well, it feels like a little bit gone.
They're all rogues, Ross. Don't be worrying, son.
I was going to say it must have been sort of very similar to playing Liverpool because the passion is like a goldfish bowl. You've said it many times. You can't escape it, and it's exactly the same up in Newcastle, isn't it? It's like everyone knows everyone.
But
like,
one team in the city as well,
Yeah.
so they're passionate about their club. I loved the club.
Yeah.
My missus couldn't settle with a 4-month-old baby at the time. We're in a hotel type of thing. I was getting injured. I loved it there. I loved the people. I loved the fans. I just never gave them my best because I was always injured. For that 4 months period of time when I was fit, they got the best.
Which scored the goal against Man U.
Man United.
Unbelievable,
Yeah,
the volley.
We battered everybody. We took 6 off of Tottenham one day. Big Sol Campbell's at centre back, didn't know what hit him. Big Yap Stamp was at Man United at the time, didn't know what hit him. We were just steamrolling teams, you know what I mean? We were good.
Yeah.
We had good wingers, we had good midfield players, one world-class striker, one good striker, and we were good. But I never lasted. I ended up getting an injury. Sciatic nerve or something happened to me, or calf or something daft.
Yeah.
I would pull my pants down and I would show you my scar on my bum. But Rachel's here just now, so I don't think she'll be too impressed. I've got a scar from there to there, and a sciatic nerve that got cut out.
Sciatic nerve.
Yeah.
Really?
I've got one on my calf from there to there. That was the end of me, really. How did you go with your injuries?
I was lucky, mate. Very lucky.
Yeah? Any scars?
Yeah, if you got no muscles, you can't pull them, Duncan. You know. All these silly bastards in the gym, what
We've all got it wrong. We've all got it wrong, mate, haven't we? That's why you've got these beautiful legs.
That's why I've got them out.
You're like a supermodel there, lad. Big long legs.
What are you up to now, mate? You still, obviously, you had your time at Everton as manager. How much did you enjoy the caretaker role and being back in the dugout for your team? I would suggest.
Loved it, absolutely loved it. No, it's my team. Everton's my team. I loved it. It's emotional, exciting, nerve-wracking.
Some great moments on that bench, though. You know, when you're lifting the ball boy up and the relief of.
I'd have lifted you up, mate. And I'd get you off the ground. Don't worry. And I don't know about you, Chris.
Really getting pelters at the moment, aren't I?
Get to the gym, lad.
Fucking hell.
I'm only kidding, sir.
I do need to get back on it, don't I? Clearly. Big Dunc's popping
You look
up.
well said, didn't you? Muscle t-shirt on there, lad. Did you go to the gym this morning? I can see a vein there somewhere.
He's sculpted.
I can see a vein there somewhere. Going back to the football.
Yeah. You loved it, right? Being manager
manager
of Everton, yeah.
Love being a
Well, you were a little
manager.
bit gutted, obviously, the way things ended and stuff.
Yeah. It was inevitable, really, because I thought I should have got the job at the time. It never happened for me. They brought in Frank Lampard. Good luck to Frank. He kept the club up. I thought I should have got that run for the Christmas period to the end of the end of the year. Interview for the job. They asked me to interview for the job. I never got the job. I felt then my time was up. I think then if you've interviewed for a guy's job, and you stand sitting next to him on the sofa or in your office or in a dugout and you're sitting next to your boss and you've interviewed for his job, you've got to go. You've got to go to the back benches. So I felt that my time was up at Everton. But it ended fine for me. There was no problem. I loved the club. It was all great. They looked after me. They were fantastic with me. But my time had come to an end. I'd interviewed for the job and I never got the job. I think then you've got to go. So I did. But going back to I want to be a manager, I want to continue.
Was it something that you always wanted to go into when you're coming towards the end of your career, like going into coaching or managing, or did it just happened?
No, obviously we all think about management. I think we all think about being the top man, sitting in the big chair. Yeah. Do we think about the coaching as much? No, so much. I can't remember my assistant managers too well back in the day. right? It didn't really bother me. You knew your manager. I knew my manager, and your relationship with the manager. The coaches, I didn't really know them as such. You know, they put the cones down, they run the drills. You weren't really focused on that as a player. I spoke to my manager. I spoke to the players. So I always wanted to be a manager. Never thought nothing about the coaching, and that came later. Once I retired, you're walking around. You know, you're feeding the pigeons. You're eating paellas. You're stuffing your face. You're putting a few pounds on, and you know you've got to think about doing something. The money's running out. You're losing a few quid. You know, life's tough. Football's fantastic. You've lived a fantastic, privileged life. You've been in football since you were 7-year-old, and I was 34. I thought I was an old man. I thought I was coming to the end. I thought I was going to lie about on a beach and just do nothing and keep going.
That's what you did, Duncan, right? You went to Mallorca, right? Yeah. You just got off and went to Mallorca, is that right?
Imagine retiring at 34, Peter.
Yeah, and just went, do you know what, this isn't for me, I'm gone.
Well, I wasn't the same player. I had offers for other clubs to stay in the Premier League, and I never took the offers. Good money, doubling my wage. I think I was on 12 grand a week at the time at Everton. My last wage was 12 grand, and they were doubling it for me. I spoke to Harry Redknapp, I spoke to a few of them, Paul Jewell at Wigan. They were all in the Premier League, doubling my wage, and I thought, no. I said, I want to finish at Everton. Wow. That's my club that I love. I want to go at the top. I see myself at the top. Everton was my pinnacle, and I didn't want to go leave notes in the Premier League. You know, when you're thinking going to Wigan or going to Portsmouth or whatever it was at the time, that's a step down for me. And I wasn't the same player. I was getting red cards. So you step away, you think at 34 you're an old man. Please, you're not an old man. You maybe in terms of football, you think you're an old man, but you're a young man. You're just a baby. You're just a baby. And at 34 you think you're old. I thought I was going to retire. My God, that's it's 20.
Were they hard times then? Did you find out a lot about yourself there? Was it tough?
First year's all right. So the first year's fine, you know what I mean? The first year's no problem. You relax, don't you? You go for a night out, you have a few drinks, you get friends there. I moved to Mallorca, bought a big villa, done everything that you shouldn't have done. Done everything. And believe me, you think about it, I done it 10 times harder than that. I was buying villas, I was doing all kinds. And, you get sick of it after 12 months. You get sick of it, you've had enough. And then when you start working, you've got to start grafting, haven't you? And you realise that actually you're only a young man. You're only 35, 36. Just get back into work, you know. And only football's the only thing I knew. Other than delivering milk, delivering papers, picking potatoes, tatties as we call them in Scotland. Yeah. I used to go tatty picking when I was younger and deliver papers. So I'd never worked really, so I wanted to get back into football, you know. So you start thinking about then taking your badges and moving on, you know, into that again. Do
you ever think, obviously you're under David Moyes at the moment, Everton, aren't you? And you think, I think a player of your stature should be around the club, you know. Would you take a role back at Everton if they asked you?
I think one day I always want to follow my dreams, Peter. I don't want to divert for the question, but look, I've had my time at Everton. I've done everything. I've put the lights on. I've put the lights off. I was first in. I was last out. Every summer, every day, all summer. Never took a holiday. Couldn't afford to go on holiday. I sat in Finch Farm every day, all summer. I did it all. My time's up at Everton just now. I've been assistants. I've been coaches. I've done everything. As I say to you, I've done a lot. I've managed the club. Good luck to David Moyes. It's his time. We always knew he was going to come back. He was going to come back when I was the manager the last time round. The first time round when we were taking on Chelsea. He was lined up for it. He was lined up at the time. It never quite happened for him. And Carlo Ancelotti came in. So good luck to him. I think it was inevitable that he was going to come back. And as you can see, he's doing a great job. But I will keep dreaming. I will keep dreaming. I'll keep chasing my dream. We've all got to chase that dream, whatever it is. We've all got to get up in the morning. We've all got to get out there and work and chase that dream. And my dream one day is to be in that touchline for Everton down the line. That's that.
Everton moving into a brand new stadium. I don't know if there's a stand or a suite or a lounge. There must be some sort of Duncan Ferguson tribute in that new stadium.
What would you like?
Maybe one of my pigeons or something. walking along the pitch. I don't think there will. At the end of the day, I think the club need to make new history, don't they? All your history was on Goodison Park. and it's going to be a sad time moving away. All your memories were on Goodison Park, and I was a part of that history of the club. The club will need to make new history now. A lovely new stadium, and the coming players that will come now. I'm sure in the next 10 years or 15, 20 years, I'll be getting lounges and statues. I think my time's gone a wee bit, to be honest with you, Peter. But I gave it a good go. Loved the club, and I can't complain. The fans still love me. I still love them. We still get on great. Still get on great in the city, even with all the Reds.
Yeah,
I get on well with them. So yeah, no, but it's a wonderful club and great times ahead for them.
You say you want to get back into management. I'd love to just be a fly on the wall with sort of in your office or when you're in control of like your management style, because the player that you was and like the fuse that you've probably had and probably you've still got now. How do you react? Or how did you react with the players, like the current players? Because we know what they're like. They've got egos, they're prima donnas. Have you had to bite your lip?
Can I spin it back a wee bit, right? How do you think I reacted, right? You tell me the truth. How do you think I reacted to my players?
Well, so from an outside...
Just how you think...
So from the outside, people would think the personality you've got, it'd be very much sort of, I'm in charge... and players would probably be sort of fearful or scared, but you can see that in the sense that there's probably an empathy side for you that players can really relate to as well.
Well, yeah, part of that you're right. I think you're probably a wee bit worried to say it. People think I'm aggressive.
No,
maybe aggressive in the
dressing room. Do you think that's because your personality?
I'm not a shouter. I'm not a screamer. I'm not aggressive. Right? So I've never screamed, shouted on a youth development when I'd come through the 12s or the 14s. You can't shout at them anyway. I mean, I wouldn't. The 18s. I worked my way through all the academy system.
Yeah.
I worked my way into Everton as a coach, as a first team coach, as an assistant, as a manager. I've had 2 jobs now and I've never raised my voice. I've hardly ever, if I've raised my voice, I've raised it a bit louder than I'm raising it now. I don't think you need to raise your voice as a manager. I think that if the players love you, respect you, they'll get the best out of you. You'll get the best out of them. Every great manager I've worked under has had the same. So if I worked under, God bless him, Walter Smith, who was the ex-Rangers manager, never raised his voice. Very rarely. Maybe once a year. Maybe once every 2 years. Because you had respect for the man. He was a gentleman. You tried your very best for him. Carlo Ancelotti the same. Howard Kendall the same. All the most successful managers were calm and nicely quiet, and the players loved them and respected them.
Respect seems to be the theme that runs through it. I guess the only thing I would love to see from a Big Dunc team would be the team just refusing to do the handshakes at the start, and then we'd know you'd arrived.
That's it, yeah. Maybe got a few fines there. But what we'll say to you is, don't get me wrong, before the players go out on that pitch, they know who they're playing for.
Yeah.
They know what's needed.
Yeah.
One of my teams at Everton, the first game I played, Chelsea, when we beat them 3-1, they made 37 challenges or tackles in that game, which was a record over 10 years at Everton Football Club. So my first game for Everton, they were fired up, they were aggressive. My teams are aggressive.
Yeah.
They're aggressive on a football pitch. That's why you've got to be weigh the ball, off the ball as well, and weigh the ball. I'm a possession coach. I play possession. I like the possession stats. I like to build through the pitch, and I've done it all the way through my academy. I've did it in my 2 clubs that I've been at. So I like to play the possession in the football. But the players also know that, you're playing for me. You know what I mean?
That's what fans want as well.
Yeah,
I think sometimes, obviously, it's a very. I think well-trodden ground. That one of the biggest annoyances from a fan point of view is when you feel that the team aren't playing for your club, for your badge that you love. And I think there's a kind of trust with you between the fans that you would go into a team and at least instill that.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, my team's got to run the hardest. Got to run the hardest. All the best teams run the hardest, and that's it. So they've got stats now, haven't they? There's stats for everything now. And you make sure you're running the hardest, and your duels. And for the fans on the terrace, you've got to be winning your duels, you've got to be winning your challenges, winning your headers. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I was loved as well, because I never went down. I got hurt plenty of times, I got cut to pieces, I got challenged, I got headbutts, I got elbows, I got up. If I was hurt, I got to the side of the pitch. Never once did I get a physio on the pitch to me. Not once, my whole career. Would I let any physio come on the pitch to me? And that kind of gets you with the fans, didn't you? Big Dunc's invincible, isn't he?
What a motto that is.
What a quote.
But I'm not really, am I? It's just the way it was. I played up to it.
There must be certain things that anger you in today's game, though. When if you're not shaking hands with people before the game, how do you feel about people swapping shirts at half time?
Well, maybe not half time, but I tell you one, Pierre, I wish I'd bloody done it myself. No, honestly, to Christ, what a great thing, I mean, back in the day, I never even thought about it. But you know what a great thing. Really, what a great thing. Imagining Peter Crouch's shirt coming up to you, big man, and saying, Peter, can I get your shirt? Maybe you'd want mine.
Yeah.
You probably would.
No, certainly would.
You could give it to your dad, couldn't you?
Yeah, no.
So, you know, but what a great thing to have. David Beckham, you know, I blanked David Beckham. I blanked him. He come up to me, he shake my hand, I says, get the fuck. Do you know? It's like David Beckham.
Get the fuck.
David Beckham, icon. No, I couldn't lace his boots. A world-class player.
Yeah, but you know what you're doing. You're doing battle, aren't you? Right?
I'm just playing up to that stupid thing, isn't I?
Yeah.
I don't shake people's hands.
Do you regret that now? Saying telling David Beckham to get to fuck.
Oh my God, mate! He just looked at me. You know what I mean? And he was on the pitch like this. I walked away. Fuck off. God, I wish I met him now. I'd be dragging his shirt off him. And he'd be blanking me now, wouldn't he? And he'd be saying, who's that? I'm trying to think of that hot chocolate song. I can't remember that hot chocolate
But wouldn't
song.
it be great if he's remembered that and he gets that one chance to tell you to get to forward?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't
Put my hand up there. Was that Scottish?
It was a lovely attempt.
You know, in terms of getting the next sort of managerial job, is it true? Is it true? Don't have a mobile phone.
I never had a mobile phone for a long time, no.
You've never had a mobile phone?
Well, I've now because I've got one now, but a long time.
When did you bite the bullet?
I don't know. 10 years ago, 10 years ago.
5 or 10 years ago.
All the way through my football career and all that now. If you believe it or not, you have to get in touch with me, you have to get my missus' number and phone my missus.
Are you serious?
I remember once, funny enough, I remember this, right? I was just on that phone about the mobile, right? I'm in the Ivy in London, right? Back in the day, right? So we're in the Ivy in London, and I'm sitting down at the table, right? And Chris Eubank comes up to me, right? So Chris Eubank, right? Frightening. Chris Eubank walks up to me, and comes up to the Ivy. And in the Ivy, when he sits down, he sits on the table, I'm sitting down there, I can't do his accent. Sits down Chris Eubank, and he said, "You're Duncan Ferguson." I went, yes, Chris, yes. I used to love Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn back in the day. There was some fighters, right? And I got Chris, he thought, he said, and he's talking to me, and he pulls out like a paper about his fight or something, or a video. He pulls out some video of him and Nigel Benn's fight or something, right? He's talking away to me, and I said, well, he says, Duncan, can I get your phone number? Can I get your number? I said, Chris, I've not got a phone, lad. I've not got a phone, lad. But you can hear my missus. thinking, he'll want my missus' number. Oh, yeah, give me your number. So my missus is giving Chris Eubanks a number, you know. I don't know if he ever phoned.
That's crazy.
But there you go. So you had to phone my missus to get to me.
Yeah, really. What was that?
Did you ever phone my missus? No.
I haven't phoned your missus, no.
What a question. So if you ever had an offer coming in for you or anything like that, they would be negotiating or contacting you via any approach. But the thing is, not having a phone's a genius move in this day and age, isn't it? Because it's hard to go off radar. I find.
No, it is.
Well, honestly, I mean, these podcasts, for instance, right? I mean, I'd done a couple a few years ago, Tony Bellew and a few others. Big Sam's been on this morning about it. Well, no, nothing about my pod. I didn't know what they were, to be honest. Then I did one last week, and this internet's incredible. And I've come here, thankfully, you've even invited me on. Well, I probably begged to come on, did I?
No, mate. It's a pleasure.
We've been looking forward to this day.
We've been absolutely buzzing.
We've been looking.
Extremely
Ross wanted me on. At least one of these wanted me on. But I didn't know the impact. You know what I mean? It's like it's social media now, the phones. You're right. You know, it's just and then internet now. It's incredible, isn't it?
The internet. Well, this is great because I think we're maybe a year or two away from Big Dunc dancing on TikTok.
No.
Yeah, I have heard the TikTok. I've heard that. I put one of my pigeons on.
Yeah.
Get your pigeons on TikTok. That's a
pigeon
great
dance,
idea.
didn't you? Did you ever be pigeon dance?
It was a robot.
robot.
Yeah. But you know, you can call it a pigeon dance if you like. That's totally
I still
fine.
keep my pigeons, like.
Yeah.
Really?
I've got my pigeons.
You into it? Racing them?
No, I used to.
No.
I just keep them.
I know, do you know Jerry Francis was my manager at QPR.
Yeah.
He used to have racing pigeons.
Still got them, yeah, Jerry.
Do you rate? So you race them, or do you send little messages by pigeon? Have you ever tried that?
No, not really. Not.
Well, if you haven't got a phone, it's a great way to
I
go.
thought you were going to say it was throwing him out the Berlini cell. Well, you wee pigeon, have you noting it?
Yeah,
the Birdman of Berlini.
The Birdman of Berlin.
That should have been the name of the book earlier. Mate. John Terry's book there. The Birdman of Berlin.
The Birdman of Berlin. Do you know what? That's a Netflix film. That the Birdman of Berlin, 100%. Just a couple of ones before you go. Obviously, you know we were talking about your notoriety, your the kind of reputation and things. It very much a lot of it came about when you with the two burglars that tried to enter your house.
Yeah.
You mentioned it in the book. Obviously, that became folklore that it didn't end very well for them.
I thought of you the other day. I was saying to the lads, I caught someone on my Ring doorbell having a look into the cars. And immediately then, because of what we previously... I was like, what would Big Dunc do here?
Yeah.
And you can sort of see him on the mobile.
I got a lot of offers after that for the alarms, the house alarms, Big Dunc's alarms, believe it or not.
Can you imagine he was the face?
I got a lot of offers for that.
A Big Dunc house alarm is legit. You've got to do that.
Yeah.
Well, instead of a Rottweiler on the front of the house, you've got Big Dunc, you got this, yeah. You got that.
I've got that. I think it's John Terry, lad.
This house is protected by Big Dunc.
Beware, Big Dunc on the loose.
Well, they'll probably break in because it'll be John Terry, won't it? They'll think that's John Terry on there. We can't have that picture on the land, can we?
We need a new picture for the security firm.
Maybe one of my pigeons
do.
or something. That wasn't a nice experience. Peter.
No, obviously not.
I had
No,
a young
but-
family at the time, and it wasn't nice for me. It happened to me a few times, to be honest. Not nice.
No, okay.
Not nice for them either.
No.
No, it wasn't nice for them by the sounds of it. We won't elaborate. Just one final question. If you've got three people, right, in Big Dunc's bar, all the career that you've played, right, you're allowed three people where you have a lock-in at Big Dunc's.
3 people.
You obviously, someone you'd like to have a beer with,
3 people.
alive, dead or alive, or whoever you can have, whoever you like.
I don't know 3 people. Only 3 people I know used to.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've never had the phone, did I? I don't know, mate.
Well, Chris Eubank.
Someone you've spent a little...
Nigel Ben, believe it or not. I remember Nigel Ben. God almighty Nigel. And I'm in Mallorca. Walking down in Mallorca, in Port Andratx in Mallorca. I don't know if you know.
Lovely, yeah, lovely.
there. And I'm
Really
walking
nice.
down, but it's raining. It's pissing down the rain, right? I'm walking down to the car, going to this restaurant. It's pissing down the rain. Big Range Rover thing stops, and this head pops out. You know what I mean? Shouting, "Dunk, Dunk, Dunk." I'm thinking, who's this? Like, you're getting worried. And somebody's going in here. I thought it was like a gangster or something. You know what I mean? And it was Nigel Ben. It was Nigel.
Wow.
And then I met him again, Nigel, later on. He's a big Man United fan, I think, nice. And why you know Nigel Ben? Well, I like Nigel Ben. I liked it, and back to the. I like my boxing.
Yeah.
I don't like the boxing now.
Yeah.
I liked it back then when they were proper fighters, proper boxers. Don't get me wrong, boxers are incredible what they do now. I would never want to go in the boxing ring. But I've got with Nigel Ben.
That's good.
He's one of my boys. Who I watched the fights with Nigel, and he was great. I maybe go with somebody. Could I bring back Howard Kendall?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I bring back Howard.
Great man.
God bless him, Howard.
Yeah.
Loved Howard Kendall. He made me captain of Everton. Imagine me captain of Everton. It was a bit of a wild card, but he made me captain, and it's actually saved Everton one year. We were fighting relegation at the time. They made me captain, and we managed to stay up.
Big Dunc, do you want an ice cream?
Ice cream man coming in there.
What would be your ice cream of choice? By the way,
vanilla probably. Bit plain. So Howard would be there because I loved Howard. He's become a very good pal of mine. And he tried to sign me as a young man as well.
Was he the best? Was he the best?
He was my best pal, Howard. One of my best mates. I loved Howard off the field. We're fantastic, and he's a great man. Great man to play for.
And what about someone from something that you like? Maybe you're a fan of the movie, or something that you're sort of into at the moment, or a hobby, or someone that you've seen.
Well, I used to like quite watching The Sopranos. You remember The Sopranos?
Right.
That's a bit an old kind of thing. We like. Who's the boy who played that lead?
Tony Soprano. Yeah.
Kendall Feeney.
So some of the Sopranos, listen to them. You know.
Have you been in a movie? Have you not done one of? You see Vinnie Jones or like those sort of roles? Like, because
Vinny beat me to it.
Do you think?
Could have
Would
gone
you
down
not
that
do-
route,
I could-
100%.
Yeah.
I can
Could
see
have
you in
gone down that
Hollywood.
route.
Yeah.
Beverly Hills.
I like this conversation.
I just think.
I'm a bit past it now, aren't I?
No, man. I think if Guy Ritchie's watching this now, I think
That's
there's a role for you, Duncan. And
I've told you, Peter, when you hit 50, you're fucked.
yeah.
Okay? You're fucked.
I think that's a great place
the minute
to.
you hit 50, it's over, mate. You three are all right. I'm fucked.
Yeah. Okay, remember that, guys. When you hit 50, you're fucked. Don't listen. I mean, listen. I've started. I'm about a third of the way through it now. I'm loving it at the moment. Good luck with the book. Obviously, some incredible stories in there. Amazing career, and obviously, someone not genuinely that I really looked up to. The way you played the game was something I tried to emulate, and it's a really interesting read. So. Anyone who fancies a great read, Big Dunc, is the book. You've done the audio book. Now, I did the audio book for mine. That's hard work, that.
Really hard work. Hard work to understand me. Hard work to get the sentences out. When was the last time I read a book or read a sentence out loud? Unbelievable. Honestly, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I'd left school at about 15 or something. And you read, didn't you? But you don't read out loud. But doing the book was just the audio book was incredibly tough. Like, wow, it took me a week to get through the first 10 chapters.
Do you have to go in a is it just in a booth or?
In a booth.
Oh, really?
You're in the booth, and there's a fella in another room, right? Enclosed.
Oh, you can imagine.
And
what they're saying.
you'd make one mistake, you got to do it again.
You could not the whole book again, but you got to do the sentence or the paragraph.
Yeah.
You could imagine me, couldn't you? Try to talk, and I was talking really quickly in my Scottish accent. But in the end, bear with me on the audio. It's absolutely crap for the first 10 chapters, but you can see it getting better and better as I was getting better and better. So please, if you want to go straight to the end, you can, but start with the start.
Yeah, but it's nice to see that progression, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I'm getting better.
Getting better as you go.
Better.
Yeah,
My grandmother's
listen,
getting
mate,
better.
good luck with it, and that might be a shout. Actually, I might put the audio book on the way home. Now.
I'm desperate to hear it already.
Good. Well, there you go.
Top man, mate. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Right, lads. That's probably better than I thought it was going to be.
What a guy.
What was
What a
it like?
guy.
What was it like sitting next to him?
You had a couple of things. There was a handshake there, and you also got elbowed at one stage, didn't you?
Sort of, is he gone? He sort of. I don't know why I was used to demonstrate these things. I'm the only one of us that isn't a footballer yet. I seem to be getting, my shoulders hurt, a bit of a twinge in the shoulder.
He kept you down. Did you feel like you couldn't actually get up?
Even when he wasn't doing it hard,
Still couldn't move.
I couldn't. It was quite firm, and he's crushed my hand.
Yeah, as a,
I'll never wank again.
He's still got that little glint in his eye, isn't he? That he means business. He's so calm though, isn't he? Like obviously we went into about the question about him, his management styles and stuff. You can see he's got that calmness now, but he's got a switch that could go. Yeah,
definitely. But I think, like he has done his kind of coaching the right way, hasn't he? He's come up through and I think that probably working with the academy, definitely. I reckon that's probably helped him realise, kind of, obviously you can't talk to teams that, the way that his managers would have spoke to him, for instance, or, but he's not a stupid man, he knows football and he knows, I'm sure he'll do a very good job for
I didn't expect him to be so self-deprecating. I thought he's funny.
Very funny.
He's over the moon with the cover of the book, isn't he?
That's
very funny. That
I think he's struggling to move past that, isn't he?
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's going to have to promote this book everywhere, and
the pictures.
But it's a great book. You need to go read it.
It really is.
Or listen to the audiobook, like he was saying. And I think Big Dunc alarms. I think could be.
How good was that?
Could be. This building is guarded by Big Dunc.
It's the picture. You see the barking Rottweiler.
Yeah.
It's Big Dunc instead.
But that picture from his book.
One thing that I can wait for is turning 50. Because that didn't sound good, did it?
Didn't sound good, that, no. But do you know what? He's someone I looked up to a lot when I was playing, coming through, because just I had to improve my heading and I watched him consistently. He was the best in the Premier League for me. Les Ferdinand would have been up there, I would say.
Yep.
Alan Shearer. And although, I felt like I've scored a few headers and stuff, but it by far better. I'm not, I'd never stand here and say, he was much better and someone I looked up to and someone I tried to emulate and never really got there with my aerial ability. But him and Les Ferdinand for me were the best I've ever seen head of football. Yeah,
and hopefully he gets back into management because you can see he's got a passion for it, isn't he?
It'd be great. He's got to. Surely that I would have thought that was a lot simpler than perhaps he was saying today.
It's harder.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Okay, well, listen, regards to your families.
I'm going to go get some physio on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your hand.
And we'll see how the hand plays out and we'll be back stronger next week.
Yeah, Chumbawamba.